the darkness and we survive. Yo, motherfuckers. Welcome back to more streams. So today, Rohan should be joining any minute now. And then we've got a guest tonight. Got a guest. No, not our usual. But today I've decided we'll go for a guest. So, sorry about taking 10 minutes to finish setting up. I wasn't expecting to get logged out on my laptop. It logged me out on my laptop. Who's already disliked this stream? Please leave. Unless it was a joke, and then just like, and we can continue. We can continue. Yeah, but anyway. Yeah, my laptop got logged out of fucking YouTube, and then I was going to use it for comments. So I just spent ages trying to get everything on, just so that I can look through Twitter, look on my stats, look at Social Blade, look at Stream Elements, because that's life. It was an accident. What was an accident? One who disliked me. I can't believe you, Mr. Rohan. Make some changes on YouTube Studio and fuck up your laptop. What? Why are we fucking my laptop up? Stream Elements, but running what? Looks Patula. Hello? Hello, the Stream Element? You okay? Oh. I still don't know the live stream element set up right though. But yes, let's continue. So we're just playing Fortnite tonight because a new friend of mine wants to get some funny clips. I'll probably get a few clips of myself because why not? What the fuck has happened to Streamlabs? I don't know. It doesn't. It used to work perfectly fine with my Twitch. But the moment I go on to using YouTube, it just won't pick any alerts up. It's just kind of like, nope. So I went to Streamlabs, because it's just something else I know how to use, kind of. Apparently this guy has sent me a request. Why can't the fucking girl in dates requested? Okay, so people added. Like detecting. It's not data for chat. Now let's find him, invite Rohan and him, and let's hope. Gameplay, yay. Fun. My Alexa's just started playing some shit. Alexa, shut the fuck up. Yo, children.
Hi.
Hey. Doing good, how are you?
You hear me well, right?
Yeah, I can hear you alright.
Alright, so.
But, yeah, so I was just checking to see my mic's picking up. Guess it will, but yeah. I'd to play for some Fortnite.
There, let's do it.
Let's go, motherfuckers. Gotta tweet one sec.
Yeah, no worries.
Okay, me have tweeted.
You streaming right now?
Yeah, me is streaming.
Alright.
It's also my first match in like 4 days, so don't judge.
Yeah, same. I haven't played in a while. Plus, I'm playing EU. Fucking. Alright.
Yeah, what's your ping like?
My ping, I don't have it on right now, but probably like fucking high as hell.
We'll see if you try to build.
Let me try to turn it on right now. Wherever it is. Let's see, where is it? Alright, I got it on. Where are we going? My ping is at 180 right now.
That's not too bad. I used to play Fortnite on that.
Yeah, that's not that bad.
Back in the good old days. Of like a year ago.
I've never been this part of the map still.
Oh! Nearly just killed myself. Oh wait, no, that's gonna kill me! Or maybe not. Okay, they did really not go to plan. Ryan?
What's up?
Yo, Madu! How you doing? I am good, my friend. I am good. You're very quiet today. You, Rahan, you sound very quiet. Can't you be like what you're normally like in bed and just scream it down?
Word, your mic is low as hell.
You want me to talk like this?
Yes,
Yeah.
please, my friend. Yes, please.
Yeah.
I really talk like this, I am very loud!
Alright.
Sorry if anyone's watching this with headphones, but this is called comedy.
This is comedy!
Yes. Yes.
Scheiße!
What did you
What's
say?
this?
I didn't hear what you said, sorry.
He said Shiza. And also a lot of this is comedy.
This is comedy!
Yes, can you please just shout that every 5 minutes?
Alright, what is this?
Die, bitch!
What the fuck?
The fuck's that? I wanna know. Oh, it's a basketball. Like a dolphin. Oh, it went away. Just like my dad.
Oh, down. Alright.
Well, welcome to the family, my friend. These are the jokes.
Yeah, I get it.
You'll hear a lot of them over the next however long we end up playing for.
Alright.
Hello. Hello, the motherfucker. Wait, let me stick my barrel in your mouth, you motherfucker. There you go. Good boy. You'll be quiet. You'll be quiet. You'll be quiet. Oh.
What's happening? What the fuck?
It's just the weirdest blowjob I've ever had.
Alright, I'm gone. Fuck all that shit. What the hell?
Wait, you're going the wrong way to the store.
I mean, oh, we have a boat.
Been harder than usual. Sorry, Rohan, what was that?
Yeah, we didn't hear you.
Wait, Rohan, no! I thought you loved me. I was just getting a big oh, my game's crashed. Oh, no, it's back. I want to ride my bicycle. 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 Come on, Rohan. You can do this.
I'm trying my best.
Faster.
I'm currently
Faster.
I'm going to
Flapping your cheeks.
We're getting shot
We're
at.
being shot at.
We must go! We must fucking! We must go! What are you talking about? Get the fucking bus! Get the bus! Get the fucking bus!
Alright.
Leave the boat.
What the fuck? What the?
I'm with you!
We're not here today. Don't fucking leave the boat.
Get the bus!
Alright.
See, this is what I meant by I have crazy friends.
No, it's good, good content right here, bro.
Yes, content.
It's raining!
Ever need any funny moments done? Just come give Rohan a chocolate bar and it'll do anything for you.
Yeah, that's sick.
Especially with maple ears.
Oh, if you want that, don't even need to do anything. Also, even sometimes if you're really lucky, his mom will come in singing Country Roads.
What the fuck?
And it will be very funny because she was singing along to my YouTube video.
Yeah, Jack only cares about content.
Pardon, what was that, Rohan? Just missed it.
Nothing.
I make content for the elderly. That's why all the ear rapes here, because they can't hear if you speak normally.
Yeah, that's true. You're not wrong.
Yeah, see? I've got a good point, and I'm sticking to it because I feel sorry for him. Because not many people make loud content.
That's true.
And they're kind of just like sat there like... What did he say again? I don't know. Not here. We've got Rohan shouting every 5 minutes.
I can be quiet if you want.
That one team.
No, I like it when you're loud. It makes the climax so much better.
Oh, I'm gonna go in circles.
Might be advised.
Get back on the boat!
Well, run!
The boat!
The boat? Get the boat.
Yes! I'm the fucking boat!
Yeah, you know the thing we came here in? And Rohan screams about...
People
Don't be my friend.
There's people behind us!
Oh. I love it. Top 27, and literally all we've done so far is listen to Rohan scream.
That ass.
Just want to say, guys, good match. GG, we played well. Just give Rohan a second, his voice is just gone. Doesn't happen often, but when it does... Yeah, it goes. Surprisingly. Faster!
I'm growing as fast as I can!
I said faster! I said faster. Faster, my friend! We can't let them catch us. But we can stop for a game of golf. There you go. That was the most delayed golf I've ever seen. God. West Virginia, Mountain Mama, take me home. Going for the chest. If my mom asked, I died in action. And not from stupidity.
I speak debatable.
I don't know what you're talking about there, mate. I'm not stupid.
Man, I think you're kind of armed, like in a good way, if you know what I mean?
Right. No idea. We play like with the army.
People down there, but there's a broad
10-5, 10-5, 10-5! I missed.
Shot?
I don't know. Who's shot? Must have been someone behind us shooting at them. Don't know why.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I totally wasn't
Yeah,
you.
not me at all. Don't know what you're talking about. Life. Oh, there is a blue pump down there, though. And there was also 3 FPS on my game. Very proud of it. Oh, that boat's coming back up. That boat's coming back up.
Is it? Why are you building the twin towers?
Oh, my controller died.
I don't know.
That was on you, that was on you.
I see him, I see him, I see him. I see him. He's... Oh my god. Oh, there's two. Guys, there's 2.
Mark him?
Just hide. Because, like, fuck Jack. If he dies, he dies.
Alright.
Ooh. Ah, come here.
What am I doing?
They still thought I was up there. They don't know where I am anymore. Where the fuck did that just go?
They're invisible like my dad, I think.
I don't know, would you call that awkward sign? They still think I'm alive.
Shut up, bro. Scheiße, help me.
Oh, I can't.
Oh, bless me! It's wrong, man!
I've tagged him.
There's fucking 50 of them, mate! Crikey! 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 Eat Crikey! Crikey! All you like to, cause
I've run out mats!
I like to.
Break him down. What the hell?
You want to top of the fucking building?
Oh, there's 2 people here. There's 2 people here.
There's one on top of me. Mate, he's right on top of my fucking ear, so oh my god, I love being penetrated from the backwards, you know what I mean? It's beautiful.
I would have to come and help, but there's someone right here. Oh, you bastard. Get him! Get him!
He's building too much.
He's just building the twin towers.
2 kills. First match back. I did see whatever mats he had.
I want a blue sniper, that's my sniper. No! What? Oh shit! 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 Oh fucking oh.
Oh, you got him. Good on you, man. See?
I was lagging too.
Jack,
We had to carry the other guy.
They're all
We'll
dead.
do that.
Oh wait, the storm. Oh,
Oh, you have to carry him.
I've got 2 medkits. I've got 2 medkits. Please don't let me die. I have a wife and children.
I'm dead.
No. I had 2 medkits. How could this happen?
How could this
Happen to me. I made my mistake and now it's up my bum. Do 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 do. Who's that girl?
Like, just wait, I'm not
Watching.
gonna win this. It's a 1v4, I can't do this. And I haven't played for like 2 weeks, so give me a break, because I'm gonna die. And... God, you fucking bastard! I will fucking turn into fucking Hitler, and I will fucking gas you alive, you bastards!
Hello there, YouTube chat. How are you all today? Oh, you're good? Oh, that's good. We're good as well. Rahan's just going through the 5 stages of getting shot at. He went through the screaming and currently he's going through the healing. We all know what the next step is. Death.
Ah, shit! Ah!
Oh my god.
I don't want to. 300. I'm only 2 years old. I don't want to die.
He's only young. Look at him now. Ooh. Ooh. Oof. Oof. Stream sniper, that is. Stream sniper.
Oh, the builder, you okay?
Right, mate, chill out, blow fucking ages. There's no need to try to turtle yourself.
Fucking,
He's a fucking
dickhead. He's a fucking cunt. Fucking piece of fucking shit. Hey, look at me, I can build. Fuck you, you fucking peasant.
Can't edit very fast, though. Oh my, I'm shit at Fortnite and I can edit faster. I have large penis, so I played Fortnite. And then I was a virgin. Till I died. Alright, mate, stop trying to shoot, you little bitch. Where are we landing, boys?
Where are we landing? I don't know.
I don't know either. But I do know I need a piss. Go Misty.
Misty.
It's Misty, just like my penile system. Oh, we went for the same joke as usual.
Yeah, I don't like the joke.
It's just like how we always accidentally make the same content. Suspicious, but... Ah, it's fine. See, the thing is, you copy me and then I copy you, or I copy you, you copy me.
I mean...
It just goes back and forth. I see a funny video of yours, I'm like, oh, I want to remake that. What do? I'll whip my penis out and beg you. Oh my god, there's 2 people around me, boys. This is going to be a hard fight. But I can do this, I can do it. Wasn't fast enough. But I'm scaring this one guy. Gone downstairs. Hey! He's not in here.
I'm Japanese when I shout.
Because deep down he wants to be Japanese.
I want to be German.
Ooh, matey! Tell you what, he got shredded. Oh, he's dead.
Okay.
Not my dad.
No, he just never came back. Person behind you. Oh my god. died.
I have no materials to build around.
I ran out of materials. I'm not a very smart Fortnite player.
Someone's here?
Oh my god. They're on top of the fucking house.
On my way.
I'm trying to strap. He's right there, right there, right there. He's dropping down onto that, dropping down onto that, dropping down. He's right there. He's coming over to burst me. Oh no, wait, he's right there. Go on, you've got it. Let me see. Oh, there's two, come on. Rohan?
I couldn't build!
Rohan?
They're both bad though. I'm just lagging.
Oh no, he's coming to burst me. He's bursted me.
Put a fucking lever, mate! You bastard! Cancel me, fuck it!
Nigga shit.
Congratulations, Rohan.
I'm fucking blind. Merry Christmas.
Very proud of you.
What am I doing? I'm fucking tired.
You're saving our asses right now.
Yeah, I'm gonna get sniped. I can feel it in my bones.
I can feel it in my fingers. Boom, boom, boom.
I hate that song. Don't fucking dash.
I can feel it up my asshole. Boom, boom, boom. Is that better?
I mean, that's just what kids who were seen by Jimmy Savile said.
I like the idea,
Yeah,
question. Question. Did he get consent?
No, we just took him into the BBC headquarters in London. I was like, and he just you know, did his spin, really.
Hey, we're filming a new episode of Top Gear. Do you want to come in and you try riding a new car?
Like having cock. Okay, it's me.
Yep. That's all I ever mean.
You'll learn something new every day, don't you?
Yes, it is. I don't know why I said yes, it is. Yes, you do. Oh, I forgot there was a trap there. I just nearly died.
I hate it.
I forgot there was a trap still there, and I dropped down, but luckily it was like the few seconds that I don't take damage for, so I didn't die. Right, Rohan, I am coming. On my chair. Yeah, I do. It's like a daily thing, really, for me at this point. Oh, oh, oh. Ooh.
Why isn't it?
Take me home to the place I belong, West Virginia. Suck my penis, take me home. Country roads. I hear a voice as I walk into my friend's house. Sounds like it's coming from his room. I go in to see what's happening, and it turns out she has been redecorating his room. Country roads. And the word redecorating his room can be taken multiple ways, just like she had. You just uploaded it, F1. Who's not here. Go and watch this 30-second video by my boy, ActXYT. Remember guys, www./YouTube ActXYT.
Oh, we got a team right here.
Go! Oh, one of them's on white.
He just got off the boat.
Yeah, only one's off the boat though. Okay, yeah, they've moved all down there by the little hut. Oh, no, they've driven off. They've gone out.
I'm on my way. No, I feel like I know this is like not doing anything. Just 1 second.
Country lights.
They left, right?
Yeah, they left.
Oh.
Unless if they went back around. So just stay alert, my boy. Right, turns out I can't build today. Beep, beep, I'm a bulldozer. I sexually identify as a bulldozer.
That is?
Bulldozer. Right, yeah, I think they left.
And my dad.
Yeah.
Yep, you took the words right out of my mouth. Just like what Jimmy Savile did to me once. Ha 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 ha.
Oh, dad, if you've added to me.
Don't we just love Fortnite streams these days? Be fair, just blame it all on Copper or whatever it's called. We have to be this rude just so I don't get fucking taken down. Go go Power Rangers. Oh, I hear him.
You hear him?
Yes, I hear explosions. They went down there.
Oh my god, I'm so scared. I'm so scared. Oh my god, I don't want to die. I don't want to help me. I'm so scared. Fuck.
Alright.
I'm sorry.
Where are they?
I've lost them. I don't know, but they're somewhere down there, basically, as far as I can say.
Yeah, because I see their boat. If that's their boat.
Oh, yeah, they're coming up.
No, we must kill them, we must finish them, we must fuck them all.
Can I get some backup?
Oh shit, it's dead. Oh, I don't want to die. Oh! Oh, God, I'm a fucking god! Oh, man, he goes round. Oh, he's on top. Oh, we'll run and get another. He goes to the second of the fucking game.
Sorry.
Oh, I just killed myself. I just got two of them! Oh, no,
Shit. Oh, we're gonna snipe that. Right there.
Yeah, there's a whole squad of them.
Just give me a minute, I'd like to med up.
Oh, there's two squads for him actually, to be honest.
They're fighting.
No, I just had a 400 shield out! You monkey looking bastard! Even though you're fish, but fuck you! You're dead! You're dead to me, do you hear me?
What the fuck?
Mate.
I could really use backup for. Oh shit.
I just wiped someone's ass with this sniper bullet.
Oh, we could push him.
I'm blocked in. Who the fuck?
Oh, kill! I hit him for 150.
Is that in the open? What the fuck? Where? Me.
Oh, bollocks! Oh, bollocks! Why did I do this? I believe I'm going to die because I've got no mind. So shady. Oh, Scheiße, Scheiße, Scheiße! Oh, Scheiße, Scheiße!
I got shot.
Scheiße!
Low, one hit.
Scheiße, no one sees me, I am invisible! I am invisible!
Right, Rahan, it's all up to you now.
I'm
He's
stuck,
low.
man!
That guy's low right there. Yeah, he's low. Oh, he's dead, he's dead. There's a guy there.
I'm fucking scared. I don't know what to do. What do I do?
I don't know, my friend. Just give me 1 second, I need to get my phone charger.
Run. That's it. Oh, snipe the guy who's gonna run. I snipe him, snipe him.
No!
Oh shit. He got it.
No! Shit! He's there! You shall never get me! Motherfucking bitch! Fuck!
Alright.
Let's not talk about anything.
I just accidentally pressed a button and my game's gone to like 144p.
Oh no!
Or are you? Yeah, okay.
You are a cunt. You, not you. Just because the son. You are a cunt. Nobody likes you because you are a cunt.
I need to sort out this. My computer's gone completely fucking weird.
He's like really good song, you know.
And Slobs has gone weird. No, not Slobs, OBS. Fun. Ah, I fixed it. I fixed it, Daddy. Are you proud? Daddy? Mom? Dad?
Oh,
Hello! Oh, hello. Thank you, Mom.
Mom,
Thought you left me again. Thought you left me like Dad left you. Ugh.
Nope.
Right, where are we dropping though?
Let's go to Paradise. I'll sweaty sometimes go to Paradise.
Take me down to Paradise City where the grass is green and the girls are pretty. Yeah.
Will just invited me.
Will?
Yeah, Will I-A-T, whatever his name is.
You wanna go play with him? You can, I don't mind. But just remember, I will be crying as you go.
I think join us,
I don't mind. If you want to, yeah.
You're friends as well.
Wait,
Talking about... Oh, look, Will has joined the chat.
Yeah, that one.
Oh, that Will. I thought we was talking about William. I know that is his name. I thought we were talking... And me, I'm just trying to make up some stupid name that sounds like William.
I'm dead.
I thought we were talking about Will the dog.
Why do they keep getting fucking snipers from every fucking chest I first fucking open? Like, yes, thank you, I fucking appreciate it. I don't fucking need a sniper for my first weapon when there's someone right fucking next to me! It's
Stop in the
getting this
back.
fucking bullet!
That question is why do I keep getting STIs from my girlfriend? Thought she only slept with me. Not broken the news to it yet. I know. I wish that's a joke. Because if not, this is not very good. So not being here, I'm being watching Doctor Who. Doctor Who, he ain't joining anymore.
Oh, well,
Doctor Who. Oh, someone's been here and they're probably still here. Oh, shotgun. Oh, a piece of candy.
Oh, a piece of candy.
Oh my heavens.
Hello. Oh god.
There's someone over at Reboot Van.
Here's the wake, here's the wake, here's the wake! Motherfucker!
Oh my god.
Oh, Lee. He's one shot.
Give me a minute, give me a minute. I just saw my life flash before my eyes in many different languages. Where is he?
On the roof. Oh, looks like he's a tryhard. Oh, I think he's retarded.
I'm out of fucking mats!
Oh my god.
You just...
I lagged.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
I don't like Fortnite anymore. Oh, shut up. I fucking fell down there. It's the top of toxic game that's like going rotten hell.
I don't like this game anymore, cheat. It's fucking bullshit.
Fuck it either. Why can't it just be fucking good?
Yeah.
Why does my game have to fucking lag? Why do I feel like I can't fucking play this game anymore?
Why do I feel fucking...
Right guys, I'm just gonna go purely to GTA from now on.
Just imagine that.
Content starting from tomorrow. Can I play with you? You can play with my penis any day. Right, so where are we dropping?
Just not where we landed last time.
5-month anniversary tomorrow. Let's go retail.
Sure, let's go.
I like the idea. And as usual, Rohan's balls have retracted. I just turned my sense up. And Rohan kissed a dog. This is all true shit. Well, I did try to invite you, but it won't give me the option to invite you. I'll try again after this match. Going to Doghouse. Yeah, it says for me that he's in a full lobby. I like penis, do 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 do. I like a penis. Oh, I never checked the roof. Oh, we got Jimmy Carl on tonight. He's gonna come sort my finances. Get it? Because he laundered money for many years. Yeah? Yeah. Oh, I've got a P90.
Oh, it'll be fun. What the fuck did you say it?
Did nobody else land here with us?
No, there's a team right here. Come in yellow house.
There's also someone in there.
I think yellow house are going right now.
Oh, shite! Oh, fuck, I'm stuck! Yellow house, yellow house, yellow house, yellow house.
He sees us, he sees us.
Yellow house, yellow house, yellow house.
Tagged 105. Oh, tagged her 50 head.
My lag, I can't even build.
She's down.
What was this shit? My fucking weapon! My phone just fell on. No.
Oh, he's right here, on me.
Look, mate, I can also spam. Oh my god. Why can't anyone fucking play this game tactically? Just as if I was spamming with an SMG for 2 hours, like, what a surprise, I win.
Game's laggy for me. Like a lot.
My life is lagging.
Oh no.
Alright.
Ah. What does everyone think? You say that Ninja has a skin in Fortnite now.
Good shit. Yeah, I got it.
Ah,
He got it.
Rohan, it's shit. I've got it.
Actually. Ninja is the worst Fortnite streamer in the world.
I just personally don't really enjoy watching him as much as I do watching porn. I'm putting it out there. Ninja v porn always wins.
Is he fucking all day? Like, fucking hell.
Oh, he really has an ninja skin, bro.
Let's go and get the
Oh, where are we going?
China.
Salty.
Fuck's sake.
Oh, yes.
Jack's just trying to get his kill.
No, why would I ever do that? I'm just trying to get used to this game again. It turns out I can't fucking play. I won't get 10 kills. I'm playing like shit today, I've decided.
Oh my god, that's actually even a fucking.
Scheiße, fucking slow shit! Well, GG, everyone. You can see that one fucking nice.
Well, are you alright?
I just dropped into
Bring him into this room.
I fucking phone, I just fucking died, that's fucking great.
I'm gonna go on top of the house.
What the fuck?
Oh! He went flying. Yeah. Oh, he got lasered. There's also someone downstairs. He's going up.
He's smashing his
Oh.
teammate.
Boop.
Oh, so someone needs a fucking oh, got fucked it up really good. Yeah, someone else, ha! Yo. Oh, that's fuck you up, 60.
There's also someone else nearby.
Oh, honestly. No, I'm fucking 43. This guy is fucking so fucking cool. Come on. Oh, Jack. I've been at my conscious.
This is all my shit. My shit. Huh. Really? Drop my shit. Oh, I've got 2.
Okay, I'm just sort of cover. I'm hiding in the bush right now. I've got no weapon on, like 50 million people around me. So if something like.
Hey, Bob, the guy here. He's up, what's up? Oh, Jack.
I am trying my best. For you, Rohan.
That's it, Jack.
I am sweating a lot.
Oh my god, he's right here.
What the f? Oh my god. I know this game.
It's so wiki, so wiki, so weak. Fuck!
Fuck, we all died?
You all fucking died!
Except for him.
Yeah.
Fucking wicked, so I'll fucking split the fucking G. I'm gonna
What to do
do
now?
Oh no.
This guy was hiding the whole
Yeah,
time.
go on. Kill.
He's gonna reboot his teammates, so just wait there.
Yeah, get a gun.
But he has no weapon.
Axe him.
He sees you.
I don't care. You're gonna miss your shots, motherfucker!
Oh,
Cause
fuck.
you suck at the game, and you suck at the game, and you suck.
You know. Fuck, he can't fucking headphones on bitch on cunt. Oh, how's that? But you were headshot.
58!
It's like fucking catches as well, I swear cunt. You give me a fucking let me walk a new style!
We were close for that one. I was beginning to feel the rhythm of football. So am I.
See, that's what I really called you this week, so. Yeah. My character. I'm gonna fucking called you. I'm playing downstairs. I'll spare from the outside, but. Well, not much.
I can't beatbox for shit.
I can't believe if you tomorrow be the fan of anniversary. Me and Jack. Be friends.
5 months.
And remember, yours was just like yours was yesterday. I mean, you remember the PS4. When you first tested me. Like.
5 months of heads and tails.
Ago. Jesus, I got that fucking cold. I came this week.
Can't believe how much I came this week either. Wait, did I hear that wrong?
Wow, this is so fucking good. Fuck you, fuck you, fuck you. Fuck you!
Fuck Fuck you, my friend.
They
Fuck
came
you.
on to end such an episode as soon as the end. Oh, my case is going on. What's happening to you?
I'm the king of long hard things.
Soon ended episode after about Andy and I came in. Came in now. Oh, fucking hell. What's the result? Turns out. It's a first episode. That watched it all. Fucking hell.
Didn't even know we're on the road.
Fuck you. Fucking return.
Alright, don't need that much profanity.
Oh, so cool. Oh, fuck you.
Profanity.
I got connection loss.
Oh, fuck yeah.
Are you not in the match? No, you're
I
not,
didn't
are
have a
you?
fucking deck.
Yeah, it didn't put me in the match.
Ah, shit.
Just phrase.
Don't worry, we'll win this for you in memory of you. Don't know, my inspirational speech ended a bit too soon. Alright, there's no need to speak to yourself like that.
Jules, please! Oh. You fucking bitch. I'm not fucking...
Whoa, whoa, whoa! The C word is not permitted on this channel.
Fuck! I hate saying.
The fourth, the fifth, the matter side, and the major league.
You are a cunt.
You are a cunt.
Oh no, Jules, give my head up! Oh, fuck me!
Very confused with what's going on in this match. Is there someone hit? There's someone hit. There's someone hit. Alright, I'm coming out. I'm going out. I'm coming out. Wait, are they on top?
I killed a ninja skin, bitch, die!
My friend. Did he have attack? No, he didn't.
Yeah, I'm gonna get off. I'll be on like next time. Just message me whenever, right?
Alright, man. I'll see you then. Make sure to watch the stream because I've got no viewers. I've got 4. Rohan?
Maybe tomorrow, because a Discord server. Oh shit, in my face. The very first time. Oh.
Rohan?
I'm like, currently making an eye on YouTube and I give you a break.
Oh, okay.
Maybe tomorrow, I should fix our Discord server. Cool.
I am being
Dickhead!
contacted.
Absolute dick! He's getting rid of dislike my video.
That's super fucked. This shit, but it's fucking fuck! Oh, fucking hell.
God is a fucking
They
bitch.
take the cop.
Yeah.
Oh, fucking hell, this game's so fucking trash.
That is the best game I've ever played. Doo 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 doo. Looks like I'm alone, boys. Anyone want to come touch my pee-pee? but I'm fucking dead. Hello, anyone there? Pablo?
Yes.
Pablo! Pablo?
Pablo,
Señorito Pablo?
¿estás sabotaje o
Pablo?
estás sabotaje?
Pablo?
Sabotaje.
Pablo?
¿Estás sabotaje?
Let's see.
No.
Ik ben dik.
Yeah.
Am I really fat?
No.
I said ik ben dik and that means I'm fat. You went, yeah.
I forgot what it means, my friend.
No, you
I'm
don't.
not lying to you.
Is that your mom? Or is that Will?
What the fuck is that? That's weird. That loves you.
No, that's not me. I thought it was your mom.
It's mine.
This game's shit, everything's shit, this game's so big cocks. You just put my fucking Joy Fisher in my coming to phone us. Ugh. I'll be my server right now. Imagine nothing fucking else one time. I fucking the horse I can.
I've got a very hot power brick on my crotch right now.
Oh.
Ladies, where are we dropping my friend?
I no idea, bro. Who's this about?
Lazy, my ladies.
The fucking top the tower was the singing baby.
What?
Who?
What? Hello?
2 weeks until fucking
2 weeks since I touched my penis.
the friends of the fucking 50. Yes, switch to 15. Fuck, I was just going down. Ass, I give it up. Dude, okay, give me.
Oh,
Yes!
there's people shooting.
Fuck you, bitch! Yeah, fuck you, fuck this into a contest. Yeah, fuck. Hey, suck. Woo! It's very fucking rains. Oh shit, right?
I need gun. Give me gun. Please give me gun. Please give me good gun. Anyone give me gun? Do you have gun?
Man.
You don't have gun? Oh, you don't have gun, no. Oh, I got the blue whale.
Fuck, man, is he a fourth man? Yeah. Fucking a piss! Fuck! Oh, I'm not getting police. Oh, so no. Get me out! Fuck.
Oh. Nope, went a bit too far.
Oh, it's not a drama. Great.
There's someone coming over.
Oh, fuck, this one fucking needs to go. Fucking drama. Was that alright? Where the fuck is Warhammer?
I really don't know.
I'm like,
Jesus Christ.
I'm being chased. They're massively being chased again. So I don't get it.
Oh my god, Will!
What?
Oh my god.
Oh my god. Oh shit, oh fucking squad. Oh Jesus. Oh, you break it. That's what content. Ah! Oh no, no, I'm dead. No, I'm dead now. GG. Oh no, now I'm dead. Now I'm dead! Fuck! Oh no, fuck shit, fuck shit, fuck shit. Fuck shit, okay, fuck penis. What? No, what is this bullshit? Oh.
I thought I should be very sneaky because
Well, I think
He's
you're dead.
sneaky.
I think you're dead, mate. Next hit. A green crystal. Jesus Christ, a green
Nick is
crystal.
neck.
I have to run off on my game, so I mean,
It's all fucking true like that. So you bet my shit, baby.
how many people are there exactly?
3.
Oh, for God's sake.
Now I feel like I killed one of them. Oh, the basically, that's 4 now.
Alright, 4.
Yeah, I think I think I've seen it. Yeah, I've seen it. Alright, this is so like he was hot as well. What? Literally now, I can't find no shields at all. I also snipers are mega shields. 17, 16, 50, 40, 4, 30. 1,000.
One second.
I just going to go and have a piddle quickly, if that's okay.
See.
Okay,
I'll be back in 1 second. Be good.
Oh. Okay.
Take the longest piss you ever need. It is okay. Oh Jesus Christ. I'm going to reboot it and then we are going to release an actual track.
Okay, buddy dude.
But it
Oh, I'll be pushing and 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I'm back
Oh
in the
my
game.
god! No, what the fuck?
What happened, dude? What happened? What?
This guy, I made a video about this guy, right? Rascal. He just DM'd me on Twitter saying, I swear to God, the day that I meet you, I will kill. I will repeatedly shoot you just to see the blood splatter everywhere. I will enjoy the taste of your blood. I will enjoy the sight of you bleeding out and suffering like
Oh the guy, the thing about the
oh,
premiere.
fuck me.
Like
Tony,
that
damn.
bitch. Yeah, you fuck off. Okay, back in the face, headshot. His fucking nose.
Oh,
Get
yeah.
knocked out. That wow. And then they'll come in and fish him off.
Mm.
Oh, okay, baby, come on. Oh, that's a good thing. Oh, what's
I
that?
was start from the top of your head and I will shoot your stomach and I just hit it open.
I'll see that video again. I actually want to see that video.
It's a piece of your face.
It's so funny. It's so funny.
I know, I'm just
He's look like guy who's a cat, no one. He's look up. He's a guy. That's first. I'll give it so far my best, my favorite film of the decade so far. And yeah. Oh, I think. Jeez, guys, yeah, fucking. There's still 43 people left. That's it. Fuck, I can't do this well.
this game's going really slow.
It's probably the fucking game ever. You know, fucking. Wait, that premiere soon. That soon as it ended. That's before it ended. That's the episode. Right, before it ended. Oh, I made before it ended. Came in. Oh, okay. The paper time. That's just after it ended. That's what. Oh, let's just see it. Players.
Hello there, sexy motherfuckers.
Nah, baby. So Jack's power tonight is play GA again.
Hello?
Yes,
Before.
I must play GTA.
I knew it before, like ages. Like last year before Fortnite got popular, you start playing Fortnite.
I have to play GTA.
But not that, like.
I mean.
What's that? It's Jim Carter. That is that. I was. I think I just got this.
First it is
Fucking hell, Travis Andrew did the map in it! See that for everything else. Exactly, see black and zero. It's so funny. Probably the best video so far that I've so far. I'll probably guaranteed the best video ever. It's so funny. No, I can't. No, I can't. It's a first second zone. It's like a fucking by somehow.
Maybe.
That was a that was a premiere. That's quite a pivotal. Is a premiere though.
I think about 9ish, I'm gonna go and jump on GTA then.
Thank you.
No. So entertainment.
Go stream GTA in the first time in how long?
Yeah.
Done anything to do with GTA for ages.
The whole year. Since I can't remember since Twitch.
I think one of the last times was when I streamed. Yeah, when I streamed it on Twitch.
You know, quite a whole need a whole year to stream Twitch.
Nobody likes you 'cause you are a cat. You are a cat. You are a cat.
Why is this like the national anthem for me?
That feels so fucking. That's like he's applied to round where. As well, he applies that you die and then you know. Oh, imagine I should win this game.
Win
Actually,
this
crush
game.
this game.
Win this game. Win it.
No, imagine we actually will come second place.
Are you ready to win the Maxwell?
Yes.
And me, I'm here in moral support.
Jack, I could.
I need a 300. Good. I need a 300. What about West says you have 300 or 1D?
I'm moral support sat here.
How about
on
2
myself.
300?
We need your backup, Jack, but you're dead. What do we do?
Well, back to win the game.
You wait. We are the champions, my friends. Do I don't know the words.
How do you
La, da, da, da. I used to know the words off by heart. Alright.
Oh, die! That's spamming, dude. Calm down.
I'm open, Jack, wait for it.
Also, the fucking yarn skin. The fucking T6 battle skin. The fucking Yale skin.
On your name.
What the fuck, man?
Alright. Will, you need to leave him alone because I will leave you, but you need to go and pick up Rohan.
What the fuck? That's real. This fucking content. Fuck off. That's a fucking old. Oh, fuck that. I don't know. That's fucking yeah.
When
Oh,
the
dude,
whistle not
I'm a fucking
playing.
aimbot!
I love
Jeez,
aimbot.
What a fucking aim.
Alright guys, good match. We tried.
Oh,
We tried.
okay, let's wait, just wait.
Come on, Rage is funny. Smash the TV. Smash your remote. Smash your mom.
Smash everything.
Taking a page out of my stepdad's book, I see. Yeah.
It's got a fucking deck. Oh, it's fucking. Well, replying to someone else. Like always does.
I have. Alright. Right, depending on how well this match goes, might be the last one.
Everything's just dick.
I know. Why do you think I love this game so much?
Bro, I hate this game. There's no fucking content.
This game is absolutely
Even the fucking content that's fucking with update. I have fucking people.
Wait, you can't even fucking tap me down if you tried, you console little Donkey Kong punk.
No, you're dead, bro, you cunt. Sometimes I'm dear wee bastard.
Don't ask how why I can't edit anymore. I lost the skill when I lost my virginity. Salty Springs it is.
Inside we are salty.
Da 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 da.
Spring inside salty.
I'm gonna drop da 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 da
And
da
then
da
fucking Miss Meadow, it's misty. It's meadows.
Misty Willows.
It's lazy. It's literally right there.
Alright ladies, where
It's
are we
freezy
dropping?
and for presents.
Someone come with me.
Yes,
That feels safe. Where are you lot dropping?
I don't know.
I changed my mind, I changed my mind, I changed my mind. I've only got a pistol though. I've only got a pistol.
It's great up up here.
Right, just learned something. Oh.
Danger! Oh shit, that's calm down. GG, Jack. GG. We dead. Get me out! Oh shit, that is...
No!
Ah, the fuck! Oh, you suck! You suck! You suck! The fucking...
I so thought we had that. Bullshit.
The fuck is your job with content? So dicks. Fuck, you know this game sucks.
I'll give up. Right after this word from our sponsor, Fortnite.
What has a German? The contact German, you will get blast like a juice.
Ah, I like the ID. I like the ID. Just remember, ladies, if it offers you a penis,
That's German.
take it.
You fucking good bitch.
Jack, I'm gonna send you a video on Twitter, and you have to watch it on the stream.
What did he say?
Is it gonna get me taken down?
Oh no, it shouldn't get you taken out. You need to watch it though. It's actually it's your something.
It's only the first second song, so it's that sure.
No, it's not that one. Well, it's not that.
Oh. So they also have first second song.
I would, but it won't load.
That's what this guy hates you. Typically.
Oh, it's loaded.
So the guy you prize is
Shut up.
Listen.
Shut up, I'm listening.
Alright. Oh, I've got bad fucking calls, they fucking stop.
Welcome to West Virginia.
Oh. I want to go there.
After the field as well. And he's going well.
You know that you lot love me. Can you take me to West Virginia?
That video did take everything for you.
I heard a voice in the morning as she called me, minding me of home far away. Wait, what? Yo, no, 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 yo, no. Yoy, no. Yoy, no. Yoy. Yes.
Oh.
Oh my god, Adam! Hello, my friend. Welcome, Adam. It's nice to see you. Nice to see you. I'm currently going for extremely light drop. Pretty sure someone's in this house with me. And I only have pickaxes and I can't find a gun.
He's not dead. How the fuck was that? Hey! I've got 10 years.
Oh my god, I fucking hate this game. Come on, burst me, come on, burst me, come on, burst me, come on. Come on, shoot me in the arse. Thank you, how are you? I'm good. I'm fed up of Fortnite though. So in a minute, we're gonna go and jump over to GTA.
Rock the biggest way in their entire life. The biggest.
We are gonna kill somebody.
My dad.
What the? Perfect. That's the way. Wait, that's the way.
Running. I have a hard on for you. How are you, Adam?
Michael Jackson's Enter the Chat.
Come on, Rahan, I believe in you. I've seen you play Fortnite. Oh, he's one tap. Got one. Go on, Rohan.
Look, that pair for the negative.
Go burst him.
Play Rap God by Eminem, because that would be very.
I would, but I can't sing it.
Monsters! Oh, the most put that up there. Monsters!
I sometimes struggle.
I know my loadout.
My player after dies, also it's a shit for you.
No, Rohan, this is very professional lowdown.
Like, that's what they play.
Rohan, go on. Jesus, that was some fast building.
Yeah, if you die, it's fucking spot.
Oh no, Rohan ain't dying tonight.
Bastard!
Easy kill. It's easy kill. Easy away.
See, this is why Rohan is a god. Oh, good, thank you. That's good. How's your day been? Good, my friend. This Rohan screaming, oddly satisfying.
4, 3, 2, 1.
You're a bit late.
It could wait. Wait.
Sky.
Oh, the rage. Oh, shit. The fucking rage.
Running back to you.
What are you doing, you fucking bastard?
Oh, it was so fucking fun match.
Yeah, I died within 5 seconds because I had no fucking gun. I wouldn't get me any.
I fucking grenading. I spawned.
I might have.
I just
Currently playing Battlefront 2. Ooh, 160 subs.
Yeah.
Jesus. You know I said that you wanted to overtake me.
Sorry, bro. Never here for the subscribers.
You are definitely overtaking me, Rohan.
I am not letting that happen, Jack. Don't worry.
You can't just not let it happen. You are overtaking me easily.
I will deactivate my channel.
We're not getting rid of your channel.
If I get to 179 or 180 actually, because 181 I think.
Yeah, I'm 181 right now. No.
That's
Rahan?
The first place is the 205 wins.
What do I win?
The first. Oh, no, for you.
Didn't think that far into it, did you?
You win unlimited V-Bucks.
It's something like 20 accounts.
Unlimited V-Bucks paid by Will. I like the idea.
Subscribe to Riverside YouTube or I do some content.
Alright, so this is probably going to be my last match, and then I'm going to go and play GTA on stream because life.
I'll watch it. I'll be watching carefully.
Good boy. Right. Now we just need to see how deep you can take it.
Hey, Jeff, no, my PS4 cap was short 180 subscribers.
Are you ready to?
Rumble.
Fuck Eleanor.
I make it come true. Make a wish, baby, make a list.
Did you know you're the 180 subscriber? It was me.
100.
I'm a PS4 account. I was 180 subscriber.
Right, everyone, I need to get 200 subscribers today.
Oh, you
Before what handles. I pop the car. Go ahead. Yeah, you're gonna turn up as well.
I'm gonna stay. Hey! I sneezed.
Yeah, right, okay. I'll play GTA again, like you go.
200 legitimately, though. Not from the 1,050,000 accounts that Rohan has. Sorry, 1,051,000.
I'll take my business rather. I'll take the heritage up.
Then once I get to 15 mil, I will thank everyone, take all the money I made, and go and start in the porn industry.
You have no money to watch.
I know, that's why I said when I get 150 mil subs. Yeah, and then I can also take the years of acting it takes. And like, be like, Blue Water Gamers, take it deep.
Why is it? Everyone I play with, they just do that just to get into a video. Fuck you!
Oh, video! I'm the best fucking thing. I'm not okay for
See, I would never do that.
You did it before, you wee bastard!
It's alright, Rohan. No! Didn't work out. I would never do it.
Can't be. It's fun.
Don't question what I just tried to do though.
That's the best out of the whole fucking life.
Who wants a blue AR?
Hello, Rohan.
Fuck you, Will.
Yeah, I will.
Hey, Mom, the show me this part of the song. Just says that was easy.
Wee, Daddy. 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 Country road. Take me home. I'm lagging at 500 ping. West Virginia. Down to my mom. Home. Country road. Rohan, you absolute wanky cock. Yes, leave him. Leave him to rot. Auntie Mama, take me home. Country roads. I hear a voice in the morning as she goes through, reminding me of home far away. Back at all these chickens. Oh my god, it's like the Salem. Will, I'm getting you. Don't worry. Come here. Will.
I can't get in.
Will.
Fucking
Yeah, you
driving
can.
shit.
Come on, Will. We have to be fast. We have to be fast because there's people watching us.
I'm driving fast. He's
Come on, Will.
pushing me. Fucking he's keeping pushing me.
Whoa! Oh, I've got no help. No! It lives.
Loser shit.
Oh.
Yeah.
Where?
I said below us.
People don't eat. Oh no.
Are you blind, you motherfucker?
No here. It's not in there.
It is.
Where the police trap then?
Trust me. There is
Just
something.
you.
Yes.
There must be the fucking trap. You actually died to truck.
That's kind of why I hoped.
No, they fucking here.
No, but fucking yeah.
Fucking word.
I'm very confused what's actually going on.
It's a mad call of this Josh. I'm affected you.
Basically, most
I'll
of based
show
on the
you
movie
the-
grass, but actually.
It's done. It's tomorrow, because it's an anniversary tomorrow. It's recorded on Discord, I'll show my face.
What? You're gonna
My
get Will's face, everyone. Everyone,
Yeah.
Will is going into the porn industry. Heard it here first.
No.
His face is being revealed.
I'll show my face tomorrow on Discord call. Tomorrow. And Wagdor as well, you want to. You see the face of It'll be first time.
I've just been sniped at.
Yeah, it's nice over here. Over there. Over
It'll be
the
first
tree.
time.
They're coming to us. Oh no.
Fuck you up then. Push you. It's fuck you. Whatever. It's cause of bitch.
Come on, Rohan, you fucking bastard.
Finish. Oh shit. Oh shit.
I haven't got a shotgun, Jar.
I'm dead. I'm dead. I'm actually dead. Oh shit, I'm dead. Oh. Shit. That's fucked.
Ooh, bit low on stuff.
That I know one. If that's guy. That's it, boss. There's more. Oh, I know that. Oh, okay. I'm just got chopped out. I'm just gonna kill half eye. Woo! Oh wow, it's all 100 subs. 10 more though. Cash from the draft. Chief, you fuck me. You said you fought. I don't want to take it. Chief, you know.
Oh my god. Alright, see you in a sec. I just fucking fell to my death.
They are trying to yo! You stop his Overwatch. You stop it.
Alright, I'm gonna go and play GTA.
Yeah, I think I know.
Where's the stream now? Where's it?
It's already done that.
There it is.
Alright guys, I'll see you in a bit. Be good.
See you later.
I'll message you all. Bye bye babies. Mwah. 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 Alrighty, let's go load up Rockstar. I do like looking at my background, motherfuckers. Don't know why. I just have no BRB thing though. I think that's from like my old stream though. And I've got no face cam, so it's not like I just throw that on. Like, face cam. By me, oh stand. By me, oh stand. It's just crashed. Yay. Hi. And fold. I'm just gonna tweet about playing GTA5 now. Doing it all off my laptop as well. It's pretty cool. Hey, And so what we get up to Winky Face. He's joined. Ah. Ah. Hashtag GTA5. Message retract. Why do you retract all your messages? Is Johnny? Oh, that's what you were meant to say. Hello there, Johnny. How are you? It's been nice to see you. No, I've missed you, Johnny. Right, they got tweeted. Let's get the viewers in. And I just have to change that to GTA because it's fucking fun. GTA 5. Wow, look, we changed game. Who would have guessed? Who would have fucking guessed? So I just want to play GTA 5 because it's a lot more relaxing. And I'm getting quite tired, I tell you that much. I can tell you that much, my friend. Yeah, let's play some GTA 5 Online. And just unplug a few wires. Alright, yeah, I've played GTA a little bit. I'm only like, I think above 32. I think. It's only a think though. I might be completely wrong. Oh shit, it goes, oh no, you're playing GTA now. A bit of a face all. Jack's Discord call, if I get into a Discord call, is actually the first question. The next one is when. Surprisingly, I like to keep myself quite busy every now and then. Well, crap, it just freezes like, I ain't gonna work, you bitch. Whenever I tab out. Yes. Yes. Yeah, probably play an hour or so on GTA. And then we are going to jump over to offline. Tasty. I really like my laptop here while I do this. I will make a call, then you will join, then I will do it. I don't know what time I'll be free though, because I don't know what's happening tomorrow. As usual, welcome to my life. I've never known what will happen in the next day. Ah, love it. Kill me. Being bitten on the fucking hand. It's so itchy. Yeah. Oh. It's also really hot in here. Look, I'm actually boiling. This one GTA just doesn't load. I'm just sat here like a noob. Awfully British reasons to cry. Sounds like boring. Oh, there's also a little announcement that I wanted to make, just a little one. There's going to be a few not usual videos going out soon. So there's one on, you know, if you follow me on Twitter, that I got a new laptop. So there's going to be a few on that. I think so far we've got 2 planned, but I might make some more depending on how those videos do when they get released. But then also, as I said, I also just want to change up what I do. Not like stop playing Fortnite altogether, I still love the game, but just be able to be in a position where I can just make other content as well, because after a bit, especially right now in Fortnite, there's no actual content. Thank you, Epic. But yeah, so right now it's a bit difficult, especially for me, to make content other than when it's just funny moments, because funny moments are just funny moments. But yeah, hopefully they'll get out soon. I don't actually know when they'll be out. It's kind of just one of those, it'll be out when it's out. Depends when I can be able to edit it and record the voiceovers for it. Yes. Hopefully they do go out soon and we'll be all happy and dandy with YouTube for a while. Load in. I also need some friends on GTA. That's one thing one of the reasons why I didn't start off on GTA, because I have no one to play it with. I'm just lonely, look. Just in a random massive lobby by myself as usual. Now we're just gonna play GTA5 Online. I'll show you what I've done on this one so far. I've only made a level 31 though, do keep that in mind. We might go and just do some random races or something, I don't know. Yeah, sorry, level 32, we have 2.5 mil in the bank. To see. Where did that car come from? I do wanna do the casino heist, but I have no one to do it with. I have been trying to get one in with like just random people, but they always seem to kick me.
What you want? Some wheels?
Yes.
It's on the way.
Thank you. Thank you. Oh my god. 48 FPS. I really don't get this game sometimes. Like, it's not pushing my system in any type of way. It's like, I ain't gonna stay at 60 UB. This car actually gonna get it. If I can make this explode before this car gets here, I'm deleting my YouTube channel.
That ain't gonna work. I can't bring it right now.
Oh my god. This is one of the reasons why I stopped fucking playing GTA.
You calling for some wheels? I'm Johnny on the spot. I'll hook you up.
So I wasn't the most like, oh yeah, maybe I should, and just grind it out. Oh my god, now the fucking game's broken. Yeah.
I'll bring it to you. I'll get back to it then.
What GTA ain't working today, my friend, my friend, my friend, my friend. Please fucking, there it is. We do have a few ways to make money on it. Right, see, I've got the money thing, money laundering service or whatever it is. Fake money book. I like the idea. Yep, no idea what you're typing there, mate. Don't crash into me. Yeah, we have this. Drive over. It's playing, just very quietly. Yeah, come over here. That's the pole. That pole, my friend. Go and resupply this and see if there are going to be a bunch of people that kill me. Can you please? There you go. Why can't cannot buy upgrades. You need to restart production in this business. Really? Still some supplies. So the last time I tried to do this, there was a hacker on. So it didn't go very well. Why is this so noisy? Just come here a minute. What? Just wanna fucking do off. Oh, there's someone about to blow me up over there. I love GTA. Absolutely love it, I do sometimes. Yay. Oh, come on lads, let's drive. So also, this game just has so much just driving in a straight line. It can be quite annoying at times. Ah. Isn't this the one? Oh no, I've never done this one before actually. Really think that could stop me? I'm like someone who never dies. Oh no, he crashed it. Oh, you absolute plonker. I fucking have the bike behind it as well. There's so little in there. Right, let's fucking drive. What meant to do that? Go fast until someone tries to come blow me up. Weird. Oh. Oh, but there's people trying to shoot me. Yay, I tell you what, I'll just drive off road, they won't follow me very well. Ah, it's easy. Using a van to its advantages. Oh, it's Rebel Radio. I was wondering where the fuck I am. Also didn't recognise this place. Oh no, oh no. Damn. That was the fastest mission I think I've ever done in this game. The supplies were delivered. Okay. Okay, cool. I'm gonna do another 2 resupply missions and hope we don't get killed. Again.
Hi there, this is Bryony from Alan's Rome Productions.
Oh, cool. It's gonna give me the steel mission.
What you need, boss? Some wheels? I can bring them round.
Get the car up.
It's coming at you.
Oh, right, there you go. Lovely. Ah, there you go. You know, they've been putting on a lot of discounts lately, especially around Christmas. Sorry. What did you say? I didn't quite hear you. What did you say? Sorry. Oh, damn. Didn't mean to run you over. Fucking bitches. Up the hill, ladies. Up the hill. Yeah, man. Yeah, man. You can do this. You can do this. Actually, this is the first time I'm playing GTA on PC on this account without snow. I've only just realised that. Every other time I've played this game, on my PC lately. It's just been snow. You can also hold down left click and steer with the mouse. I really don't get the point of it because it doesn't work very well. I'd say not very well, it just doesn't work. I feel like this can be a Christmas song. Yeah, it is. Stockings on your walls. I might be seeing the time you had my balls. I'll actually turn the music up so I can actually hear it. Just hope I don't get copyrighted. Hopefully. Oh shit. All my YouTube gets taken down, either one. Guys, gotta drive like a madman. Drift it! I overshot it a bit. Don't walk away. Drift it, drift it, drift it, drift it. Ooh, that was perfect. It's actually really shit. I locked away for 5 fucking seconds. 5 seconds, I tell you. And that happens. I'll just say me. Don't I don't understand. It's very good of you trying to do like snap turnings. Whoop, that didn't go well. Babe. 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 See, I only just got this car out and tell you what, prestige condition. Selling on eBay, basically new. Looks new. Just needs a bit of body work really. And that will be straight. Just some bits and bobs really. Then there was free. I think I'll take Clash on my stream. What? So I was just parking it. Oh my god, just kill me now. You reckon I can do this stealthy? Very stealthy, I don't. That didn't work. Those crates. Oh, but must ask, what the fuck were you trying to do? It's the worst hiding position I've ever seen. It's nearly as bad as the one my dad did, and that was 6 feet underground. Everyone must think I have such a broken family. Don't. Oh, I'm fucking shot at. See, these missions are always very much made for people with friends. I just don't have friends. Oh my god, why? No? There you go. Shit, where are they? Also, for people who know what they're doing. Whee. Run. Run. Yeet. Right, yeah, I'm dead. Whew. Thought I was dead then. But you know, I'm a pro Fortnite player. I know how to play a bit of GTA. Oh. Do, 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 do. Oh, yeah. I'm not now. Oh god. I had to literally go out and clear this whole fucking place. Oh, finally. Oh, fucking enough. Basically at the point, if I take one wrong shot, then I'm dead. Special FaceTime loving, got a fire in his heart. Man undercover, now I'm high. So let me just sort this radio station out. Ah. Oh, I bet Elton John. Let's see how fast can we escape with Elton John on. Just like mine. Time from you. I never too high. I'm mass for use. Back again. Pull your eyes. I really hope that guy's not going to try to kill me. Speed. I didn't go very well, guys. Sorry. So hard to drive. Yeah. Oh shit. Basically a stunt. Oh god, I only looked to see the chat was popping off at one point. Oh. Game lagged. Totally. On my mind, just standing. Yeah. Please. This is when he's throwing down some sticky. I'm gonna drive on the opposite side. What? I didn't see that. He says I'm my life, you're on my mind. Standing. Yeah. Give me a minute. So it takes a bit to get going sometimes. Just saying hello in car. He asked for it basically. He drove right in front of me. Who does that? Bullshit. Absolute bullshit that is. Oh, come on, we've got this. Wait. come on, come on, come on. Whoa. Damn. Very push it. Oh, shit. Oh, got it. Holding it right. Coming down here, coming down. Whoa, gotta miss that car. Come on, ladies. Oh, we're gonna make a whoa, just barely scratching through that little sitch. Ready? I'm gonna show you a shortcut. Basically, not even a scratch. Come on. This is the end of the shortcut. Just want to come over here. Quick 360. Narrowly miss going underneath cut and go. You want to make sure you go into that rock. I'll tell you that much. That from personal mistake I did. It's like perfection that was.
And we're still in business. All right.
Alright, cool. Alright, now what else do we do? We had Emily like, come and play with me, daddy. Now, yeah. Could always just go and look at a few things that we could have bought. I really just want to buy the bunker, get them done. Not bunker, facility. Cheapest one's 1.25, ain't it? Then I can get those missions done, but they will be with complete randoms. It's always a bit that puts me off of this. So I've got no friends who play PC really. At least GTA on PC. I'm kinda stuck. I wanna go though, just see how that's going on. Is my bunker. I had a few things on there to resupply and I haven't checked it for ages. Very nice thing right now is that I've got the laptop. It can't really run GTA massively well. If I just had it just spawn me in like my CO office, just my house, I just leave it sat there for a few hours. It just classes me to be signed in at least. So then all these things are still going and getting processed. So pretty good, I think. Oh, he nearly just killed my kill. Won't be able to pay me back after that, I'll tell you that much. Fucking no bed. Oh. Sorry. Oh, that's on fire. Ah, it's a good thing I'm not on fire. Or am I? Jesus. I don't want to listen to Christmas music. Actually, I don't like this song. Sounds alright. Just more of something to listen to. This is absolutely no one chatting. Right, oh shit. Alright, let's keep going. Okay, so we just gotta pop up here. Yep, there you go. Pop up it. Please no. I can't do with losing this car. Oh. I may have just trapped it down here. May have just trapped myself down here as well. Can someone come and save me, please? Oh my god, this is absolutely terrible. I might just put my money away. Let's deposit 20k. At this point in my life, every bit of money counts really. And then kill myself. Okay. Ah, perfection. I'm on the road. Only thing is, I need a car. Oh, God. No, 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 no. Absolute cow, absolute cow. Wasn't expecting to drive straight towards me. I'll give him a thumbs up for that, man. He's just been fucking. He's just done murder. Excuse me, madam. Oh. I want to be mean, but it seems like you're dead. Well, you know, spontaneous death. That's what it's called. Absolutely terrible. Go, 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 go. I really do hope nobody drives on here and knocks my car in the water. Oh no, front glass just went. Ah, it's a tough car, this is. Oh god, knocking my mic. Oh, and now I've got a bounty. Just to add being in a lobby of 9. A grand bounty on my head. Kill me. This ain't good. Wee. Oh. 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 Now I feel like this is very realistic on how I will drive in the future. This is why I should never be allowed to drive. Tell you what, I've nearly lost the police car by accident. Pretty good. There's a lot of police cars over here. Yeah, okay, I lost them. I wonder what you were looking for, my friend. I know. Really weird. Love doing that. I swear I know what I'm doing. Look, you can pop. Really cool thing you do. You pop that hit. And obviously try not to flip it. Wrap yourself around that tree. Now you're facing the right direction. Just go up here and then there's another bit. You go down. You always oh. Hello. Hey, get in. Don't worry, we'll just do a Jimmy Savile here. Take your money. Thank you. A £10 richer today. Yes. And now we're at our bunker. Oh. They are completely empty. They've got no stock. No supplies. Oh my god, I can't be bothered. Not just like a job. Too quick, let's do another doomsday heist. Come on. Oh no, I've been kicked. So I hope this makes people realise. Right. It's so hard being such low level. But I got kicked again. Oh my god. Oh no, it's loading. Bet he kicks me now. You not seen this? Kicks me like that. Try again. I probably found like one nice person. Oh fuck, so many Christmas music. Am I gonna get kicked? Is kicked.
My name is doesn't matter. I like making bad decisions. Let's wake up like nothing happened. If we do it, say we didn't. If your friends ask if you hit it, you
Oh,
can tell
that's the
them
last
I'll
one.
admit it. I wear that shit like a badge, 'cause I know that I got that kitty. You're in love with
Somebody else.
maybe I could offer some help. Get over them by getting under me. Well, you might hold it if you get too much of me. Only if you get too much of me.
Oh, this guy seems alright.
Too much of me.
He hasn't kicked me yet. I like him. I like him. Oh, it's that one. Yeah, I don't like this one. Oh, I'm getting my car. I'll see you there. Huh. Where's it again? Okay. Oh, it's just that marker for me anyway. I would love that. I know what I do. Does that just sound like whenever I stream? It's like, yeah, anyone? Is someone here? Because I've been streaming for like 2 hours. Now one day I'll blow up. One day. I'll keep wishing. I'm so used to playing GTA on PS4 still. White hair. Sure. Go on, mate. I don't know what the fuck that was. I was trying to itch my thumb. Hey. I always love driving down that bit. Oh shit. I was driving so nicely until then. Goodbye bonnet, or whatever it's called. Would it be bonnet or boot? I don't know. How'd you if you get too much on me? Come on. Break, go, 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 go. Guess what? We're here. That's more Christmas music. Don't want it. We're here.
We're triangulating the signals. Just a minute. Oh, sneaky. Okay,
A bit too
get in
close.
the cars and wait for my word. Okay, we got him. Sending the locations now. You need to get
I've done this mission so many times.
and their connections. And stay close until you've grabbed all that juicy data out of the sky.
Literally, I've done this mission thousands of times.
Data's on board. Fried data is no
I think
good to
Valheim
us.
went to a bit of a point where we grinded this game out for a little bit. And we played it so many times through that. So I really just want to do like a daily like grinding stream on this game. Maybe just drive it to the side. Try not to get too far behind, but also try not to get too far in front. Oh, shit, 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 shit. Oh my god, this is not going well. Or just try right in front of him. I so thought that was going to hit as well. Oh. Oh man, I've already gotten one. Pretty sure D, if I follow this road here, D should be there. I think. Satisfied. I don't wanna. Who's actually here? I wanna hear from you. Maybe something to talk about. Oh. Oh, imagine having an RPG fly straight past you while you're on a bike. There he is. Maybe that. Now we're both satisfied. I want to do this, and then we can end off the stream, and I'll go to bed. I won't be going to bed, but come on, you can do this. Love you. Right, let's go. Oh, no balls. Just do this. Just hold down the rocket. Well, I'm just spinning out one sec. God, tell him just getting a bit bored. Oop. Don't see him there. No. Just hope this geezer doesn't blow them up before they actually need to be blown up. Just gonna skirt into here. Oh mate, you're getting a bit close. It's basically just free data at this point. One done. Time to go. Where am I going? Oh, what's that? I noticed that fucking waypoint to one of these. Wait, D. Oh no, I was going the right way. Oh my god. Oh, people kick me when I'm 32. This guy's basically double my level. I was trying to do the Diamond Ties mission, and this guy was trying to bitch off to me about me, and he just kept dying. So don't stand there, don't stand there. No, I fucking died because of you. So did you though? Did you? Did you though, my friend? Hey, they just always try to blame me on the fucking lowest level player here. But actually, I've had years. Well, not years. Actually, no, I have had years of playing GTA. Frankly, I'm pretty good at the game. Carrying a weapon. Be a part of you. Finish, finish. Goodbye. Oh, excuse me. Don't fucking die. Oh, we're done. The first bit. Please don't fucking die.
We've got that upload. Package intact. Alright then. Now,
Didn't.
if reading this right,
Yes.
the next data store's on the
Yes.
water.
I don't know what the fuck I'm buying this for this. Definitely see him dying on this one. How do I B? No, V.
Your car is also fitted with a hover module. Why don't you see what it can do on water? As before, get close to the targets.
Nope,
Exploit
didn't
those
see them
weaknesses
there.
in their connections. We are hacking a bunch of nasty data thieves here. Fraudsters and blackmailers. The worst of the worst. They'll come back at us hard if we let them, so...
Well, press that.
Down, destroy their vehicles after you get the packages. I do not want these snoops showing up in my house.
Actually, last time I tried to do this one on PC, there's not no keyboard, there's no actual numpad on it, so I couldn't fly. Oh, look at this! I know. So cool, ain't it? Ooh. There you go, he died. Quick restart. Do I never change the title? I never saved the title. Sorry, mate. Are you really gonna get the? Oh my god. Fucking kill me now. I only just realised I never changed name. Yeah, I'll jump off over there. And then I'll be there. Go and prance around in the water a little bit. Can't believe I fucking forgot to change the bloody name. This stream. If this guy can't hear me, make sure Blue Water Gamers on YouTube currently streaming GTA, you didn't realise. It's faster.
Your car is also fitted with a hover module. Why don't you see what it can do on water?
I now I've used it a few times. Here's how you get it. That didn't work. Okay. I'm not very good at this, am I? Please have fucking thing open. It's not the same anymore. I left the void in my face. I like it simple before. Right, press X if you can hear me. Your head down. Yoy. Yoy. Don't shoot them. It'll be alright, my friend. Especially don't try blowing them up. Oh, I'll just leave them. It's a bit sad, really. I'll go to the next one. Oh no. Yoink. Oh, I accidentally closed that. It's like I'm the car. It's like I'm the engine. See you later. Do I have to go? Be fast. Just get that one. It's not the same anymore. Oh. Don't think after this mission I'm gonna end the stream off. Whee. I've done it a few times in like just a normal game and not in the mission, and it kills me. That's an expensive mistake, I find sometimes. Oh, I always miss them. So hungry right now, I tell you something. Many months just waiting on my... Oh, shit. Shit. Really blew myself up. Okay. Oh, it's like playing soccer. I think A is so low. Nope, doesn't work. Ah. Hey. Let's try to get this boy to subscribe to the best YouTuber known to man. How are you? Oh. Oh, that nearly ended badly. How bad? Why? I'm just trying to be a nice person here today. For once. Can you hear me? So make sure to subscribe. I've got 4 viewers. Could do your 5th. Is it rude to make conversation now? Wow. To be fair, if I knew my mic was working, I'd probably wouldn't be talking as much. Because I do reckon it'd be quite annoying after a bit. Oh, look, we're here. Hack. Oh, they're dead. Oh, no, they're not. Hey. Speed it up, speed. Good. I've done this mission so many times. Oh, it's 10 o'clock. It's time. We'll be thinking about closing off this stream. 2.5 hours though. Not bad. Yay! Oh, one bit over. Oh, they're still alive. I am the engine. I love doing this. This is actually so much fun. I'll be free. Wait, did I not get it? But it did. I got it.
Alright, so here we have it. The final sources at Los Santos International.
Come on, let's do the ramp, do the ramp, do the ramp. Yay! Oh, I didn't go very well. I was time for nothing, but it should I be? By the time you realize, too far behind to see. Down to mill projector, look out everything. Yeah. Way to glory. Will last forever. Who's to say? I wonder what this guy's thinking right now. I'll push him, put him through that torture. And kill everyone. Ah. A cop just drove into me. Say my name. The boys had my thoughts. Have you can actually hear what songs going on, or I'm just sounding like I'm singing to myself? Oh, I don't think so. I think I'm meant to understand. Hey.
You there? The signals are preparing for takeoff. Get to the runway. Come on. Get close and bring me back to transmission.
Maybe one day. I forget which ones to go with.
I need a complete data set, people. A partial set's no good to me. Remember, we only
What do I go with? What's my up button?
the intercept to work.
Oh, I can do it with control.
Phase 2. Pull up on the sticks, people. They should do a little more than hover. Look out.
I'll
Protection
do
details on its
the
way. Get the data quick as you can.
Oh, he's gonna be do 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 do. Yo, oh, he's gone up too high now.
You know how much Avon's paying us for this data? And most of us give ours away for free. Gah, Life Invader is a hell of a con job. I mean, business. It's a hell of a business.
Just gonna say if that plane's going down, I'm gonna kill someone. I haven't even touched it. I don't even have the fucking thing open. Does she just sit in the water, do the whole mission for him? Oh. Shit. Personally fun to do. Oh, no, don't want to go down there. Don't want to do that. Don't want to do that, mate. Alright, just don't die a few more seconds and we've got this. Wait. Whoa, what we're gonna do? What we're gonna do? What we're doing? Okay. Oh shit, I'm about to die. Oh my god. Ah. Probably thinking, what's my plan to get down? And you lot will see in a second. It's something I've been doing since I was a wee lass. I call it darts. So, you know where we have to land, right? It's just that car parking place there. There you go. Play darts. We're definitely gonna have a shoot. Last second. Whoop. You miss, you just very quickly go, yoy. I really wonder what this guy's thinking right now. Really do wonder. Really do wonder. Oh my god. That. God, mate. He's such a fucking idiot. Oh my god. Literally, like, the biggest cock up I've ever seen on this one singular mission. It's not even a hard mission to get it right. But to get it wrong, it's like, wow. I'm surprised. Oh, we've had 30 playbacks now. Nobody actually stays. People just like come pop and something. Nah, I don't feel like him today. Oh, he straight off the top from the look of it. That's actually pretty cool, I think. Has he stolen that? No, I was about to say. It's a bit crazy. Ah, brother. Oh, come on, mate. He ain't happy. He's my brother. I really want to find like a really nice, good off-road and then also a race car to just kind of like drive around in. You know, when they make it snowy, I want to have like a nice off-road car that I can just go into. But see, I don't know what car to make that. Oh, we're done. Oh. So I fucking drove around everywhere. I would hope so. About the hour we've been playing GTA, we've made 26k. And very sweat ballsack. But yeah, I'm thinking this might lead us to the end. Stream? I don't know, should it? Shout it? Find out after the break. If not, can't put ads on. Nah. Well, I think tonight's stream has not been the best, but it's definitely not been the worst. I've definitely had worse streams in my life. So once on this loads, because I want to make sure I got that 26k. That guy was actually quite a cock. Literally had fuck all himself. There you go. Question is, do I feel like being a dick? Right guys, so it looks like this is gonna mark the end of this stream now. We're gonna kill this guy though. What the fuck just happened? Right guys, thank you all so much for watching. And hope you have fun. Ooh. Oh, you actually did how it fucking work. Right, yeah, guys, gonna close up GTA. Gonna end up this stream now. Bit of Aiden's hair around my mouth for some reason. So thank you so much for watching. If you have enjoyed it, go subscribe, make sure to subscribe. And if you're watching this in a video form, thank you so much for watching that video, because that was a long fucking video. 2 hours, nearly 3 hours. Guys, I'll see you all soon. Be good, stay safe. Guys, I'll see you all hopefully tomorrow in a video that I just remembered I've got to go and edit. Bye bye.